Welcome to the webinar today. Stop worrying whether your employees like you, how to manage your team dynamics. We're going to wait a couple minutes for people to join in 1 second. Okay, so while we are waiting for people to join, I want to talk briefly about a technique that we use in the Marines called tactical decision games. And in what I've developed through Officers Eat Last, we call leadership decision games. So what you do is you have a story. Generally, if it's a real story, that's even better. And so in this particular situation, the story is about being a retail general manager. So you're a general manager in a retail store, and this actually happened. This is a real story. The company had gone through the year and decided to give raises. And so they had put this big, huge spreadsheet together and decided who was going to get what raise and how much they were going to get and all those types of things. So that information had come down to this retail general manager, and she saw how one of her employees, who was an hourly employee, made less than $10 an hour, had been approved for a 9-cent per hour raise, which is $3.60 a week. So you can't even get a nice coffee at Starbucks for $3.60. So she knew that this was not going to be a good situation for this employee. So how we work these leadership decision games is if we were doing one for real, I would basically stop and ask you, what are your thoughts? Like, what would you do in a situation if you were a general manager and one of your hourly employees was provided a 9-cent raise? So you would start thinking through that. So in this particular situation, what she did, because she knew how it would be interpreted, she set a meeting with this particular employee and explained what had taken place. And then you, as a manager for the company, obviously have to strike a balance. So you can't say, "Hey, everybody that was involved in providing you a 9-cent raise, they're a bunch of idiots and they don't know what they're talking about." You have to balance that. So she said, "Look, the company allotted a certain amount of money for raises this year." And unfortunately, only 9 cents was provided to you. But I don't want you to feel like that you're not valued, because I completely and totally value your contribution to what you're doing here. And I very appreciate all the things that you do on a daily basis to help our store look nice and taking care of the customers. And what I'm going to try to do, and I can't promise anything, but I'm going to try to see if I can get you a higher raise than 9 cents per hour. And so because she went about that the right way, this particular employee did not quit. I'm not sure exactly. They probably weren't very, very motivated for the next couple days, but she treated him in a fair way and then tried to work to get the 9-cent raise. So that's how you want to handle that. And I wanted to tell a quick story while we were waiting for everyone to join. So hopefully some more people have joined. And let's get started with a couple other things. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize or get rid of me. So let's see if it works. Yes, I am gone. Okay, so this is a little bit about me. The reason that I founded Officers Eat Last and created Officers Eat Last it goes all the way back to 2001, 2002 time frame when I was a captain at Officer Candidate School. Wharton Business School had worked out an arrangement with the Marine Corps and Officer Candidate School to bring down students to Officer Candidate School, and they wanted us to run them through some leadership training, about a day and a half of leadership training. So they came down, they went through this training, and then Wharton was nice enough to share lessons learned from that training. And I had an opportunity to review some of those things, and it was overwhelmingly positive. It was, comments were like, "I've been a manager for 5 years, and I learned more in the last day and a half than I did in 5 years. And it was just, all these wonderful, wonderful things. So it was at that time that I felt like if I ever have an opportunity to write a book about leadership, and if I ever have an opportunity to be involved in helping people become confident leaders, I want to be involved in it. So that's where that started from. Okay. So we just talked about why created Officers Eat Last, and then I also have a little funny thing to look at. So this has been the experience that I've seen in business. Is the company is the big ship that's out at sea, and someone has been doing a really, really good job as an individual contributor, and so they are offered a promotion to manager. And what I've seen in a lot of companies, this is basically how they treat the manager, is they throw the manager overboard, and it's the individual's responsibility to try to learn leadership, to try to learn how to build a team, how to lead people, all those things. And so what ends up happening is if you do not learn, if you can't keep up and swim and get back on the ship, then the company's going to leave you behind, and you're going to have stress and anxiety and all these other things, and you're either going to quit or you're going to get fired. So we don't want those things to happen to you. And so that's one of the reasons that I developed Officers Eat Last. Briefly, I believe leaders are made. They are not born. I definitely was not born a leader, but I was fortunate enough to have a lot of great mentors that helped develop me into a leader. And I think the same thing can happen for you. So you're in the right place. If you want to become more confident as a manager, as a leader, learn how to build a cohesive team, create a team that, your culture, culture of teamwork, those types of things. And you're in the right place if you've had employee conflict. Which anybody who has managed people, there's conflicts from time to time. And then lastly, if you believe in your team's ability to succeed. So, as the leader of those individuals, you need to believe in their ability to succeed. Okay, so what we're going to discuss today and talk about today is we're going to discuss the Officers Eat Last Teamwork Dynamics tool. And I believe that it's going to help you reduce stress and anxiety associated with leading your team. I think it's going to help you build trust and respect and propel them towards success. And then at the same time, I think that it's going to help your team dynamics, help you to crush deadlines, exceed goals, all those great things. Okay, so as we get into kind of some more stuff, please hold the questions to the end. I believe we have a chat box that you can type questions into. So feel free to do that, and then we will go through those questions at the end. Quick disclaimer: we're going to talk about how you should handle your interactions with your employees, and in some cases you may need to actually fire them, remove them, and different counselings and all this stuff. So I'm not an attorney. I'm not your human resources department. Any sensitive questions regarding your employees, you need to consult your human resources department or an attorney. Okay, so as we're about to get started, please put your cell phones away, your pets, kids, all the different things that might distract you. And then if you would, please stay to the end because we're going to be sharing an exclusive offer with you. Okay. So the Officers Eat Last Teamwork Dynamics tool. It's a team building tool. It's a tool for first-time managers or leaders to use to create a cohesive team. And if we want to use a buzzword, the buzzword would be an employee engagement tool. It is most useful for managers in paid positions with employees, individuals in leadership positions with employees, and it doesn't really matter how many employees you have. It can work whether you have 2 or 2,000 employees. It'll still work. So you should use this every day. Once you learn the tool, it'll become intuitive for you, and hopefully you'll become a team building master. So many first-time managers fall into the trap of wanting everyone to like them. Okay, so this is a road to failure for your team. What is important is the purpose of your team. What are the goals, objectives for the team? Why are they a team? And it's your responsibility as a leader to drive the team to achieve those goals, communicate the purpose of the team. If you're a sports team, it's to win a championship, and that's easy. That's a clear purpose. It's a clear goal, clear objective. Your responsibility in business with your team is to make it that clear for your team. What does winning look like? Communicate what winning looks like. Is it to launch a product, beat your quarterly sales goal, finish a big project under budget, on time, whatever those things are? It's your responsibility to communicate that. So it should help you build a cohesive team, create a culture of teamwork, increase productivity, assist in handling conflicts with your team, and enhance your ability to hold your people accountable. This is a brief testimonial here. Very much appreciate. This is one of my clients, one of my students, and we can zero in on the bold words there. The true gem that I found was how the morale of my team exploded as I became more effective as a leader. So very much appreciate those comments. So here it is. Just kidding. I like humor as much as the next person, but I throw this in because we do see this from time to time. People come up with all these crazy diagrams of all these different colored boxes and stuff on what you need to do with your team, and that's not my style. I like to keep things very, very simple. So this is not it, but this is it. So very, very simple. You can see that. So it's a balance of trust, respect, and like between you and your team, and it's all about balance. So that little gray space where those three circles intersect, that's the sweet spot. That's where you want to be. So let's dig in deeper. Okay. So this is you, and then this is your team. So it's about relationships and your team and your teamwork. I want to briefly hit whether you call yourself a manager or you call yourself a leader. I don't really want to get into the debate about manager versus leader because there's a lot of debate about it. But for me, I prefer leader just because of my background as a Marine. But you can use manager, leader, boss, whatever you like, whatever you're comfortable using is fine. Okay, so as we dig deeper into this, it's about the individual relationship between you and each team member. So we've got our little team here. So your relationship with Billy, Sally, Tommy, Judy. And then also, it's about the relationship between each of the team members. This is your responsibility. You can influence that relationship, and you should. Okay, so let's look at an example of a winning team. Okay, so this is a team that is working together. You're there in the rowboat with them, and these team members are properly positioned for maximum efficiency and productivity. This is what your team should look like. This is a team that trusts and respect each other, and hopefully they like each other. All of it is demonstrated through their actions and their behavior. And then as a leader, you need to be in a position if someone is out sick, if they're, whatever issues that they're going through, you need to be in a position where you jump in and you row the boat. And your team needs to know and understand that. And doing that through those actions, those behaviors will help build that trust and help build that respect amongst the team. Okay, so since we've looked at what winning looks like, let's look what failing looks like. So it looks like this. Okay, so this is what losing looks like. All right, so Billy should be there. He's not there. We've got oars in the water. The team isn't working together. This is an example of a team that there's no trust, there's no respect. And if your team looks like this, then it's your responsibility to get the team organized. And so I think that the Officers Eat Last Teamwork Dynamics tool can help you build a cohesive team. So I hope that your team doesn't look like this. Okay, let's look at a metaphor real quick. So most of us have seen the apples. So we've got a nice basket of apples here, and if we get in a situation where we've got a bad apple, okay. So Billy, unfortunately, he's a bad apple, and if we don't want Billy to be a bad apple, then we are going to have to get rid of Billy, because if we leave Billy in there, a rotten apple will turn all the apples rotten, and then your team will look like this, which is obviously not what we want. Okay, so why are we working hard to become a confident and successful leader? Let's get some advice from Warren Buffett, pretty successful guy over his lifetime. So he says it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. So if you yell at your team, if you lose your temper, you can't control your emotions, you can't control your bearing, you're going to ruin the team. Okay, you're gonna affect whether you win or lose. Like, those things can have an effect. Also, if you do any number of unethical things, even things that could potentially be in a gray area, you can destroy your credibility. So we do not want to do that. So let's break down each word in the teamwork dynamics tool. Trust, firm belief in the reliability, honesty, and competence of someone. So when we look at this, it's the trust from you to each employee. So in this case, we are looking at Sally, and then you're asking yourself, do I trust Sally? And you're also asking yourself, is she technically competent? Is she proficient at her job? Sustain, maintain, enhance the reputation of the team, the company, act in an ethical way. Does she produce results? Does she understand the purpose of the team? Understand what winning looks like? And then you're going to ask yourself these same types of questions for Billy, Tommy, and Judy as well. Now, trust works both ways, right? So Sally needs to trust you. So she's going to be asking her stuff. She's going to be asking questions like, am I going to get paid? Do I get paid on time? Trust the benefits package of the company. They provide health care, retirement plan, vacation, all these things. Is she treated fairly? Does she feel like she's treated fairly? Does she feel like she's cared about? All of these things. So if those things are not in alignment, then it's your fault, and you have to work to fix those things so that you have trust. And again, this goes for each employee. Trust, it's also your responsibility among the team members. So each employee also has to trust the other employees. They have to trust their fellow team members will carry their weight. So Sally, Tommy, and Judy at the moment, they don't really trust Billy to do his task. And it's your responsibility to get involved in that and try to figure out what's going on. You need to engage Billy. You need to have conversations with Billy. Should you fire him? Should you not? Is there a way to counsel him? Let's also look at another example. So let's say you give Sally a task on Thursday that is due on Monday, and the entire team is counting on her, and she fails. She doesn't follow through with the task. It's not done. And so now that can easily lead to a loss of trust because the entire team was counting on her to get that done. So it's your responsibility to get involved with that situation. You're going to need to have a private conversation with Sally and figure out exactly what took place. Like, is there an actual reason why she failed in the task, and work through that issue. Okay, respect, a way of treating or thinking about someone as a result of their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Okay, so respect from you to each employee. You show respect to your team by being firm and fair, by being consistent in your actions and decisions. Help each person succeed. Listen to them, remove obstacles, get resources for them when they need them. Eat last, be a servant leader. That's how you show respect, and you do it for each individual employee. So they need to show respect back as well, right? So they need to work hard. They need to put effort into their job. They need to strive to be better. They need to strive to exceed expectations. That's how they show respect back to you. And they need to respect each other. If we're going to have a winning team, they got to respect each other. So they need to help each other. They need to share resources and to teach each other new skills. If they aren't doing this themselves, if they're not just automatically sharing resources and teaching each other new skills, it's your job as a leader to foster that teamwork, get involved, and help them do that. So let's say, for example, that Tommy's on your team, and unfortunately he gets a DUI, driving under the influence, got involved with some alcohol. This can easily generate a loss of respect towards Tommy across your team, especially given the different backgrounds that people have and how they feel about someone who's drinking and driving and all this other stuff. So what now? So you need to get involved with Tommy. You need to engage Tommy and try to figure out what's going on. Is this a bigger issue than a one-off incident? what exactly is going on, and then help ensure Tommy doesn't lose the respect of everyone on the team, and allow Tommy to kind of earn that respect back. Okay, so describe your attitude or feelings toward someone. Okay, so you, and whether you like Sally, whether you like all the different individuals on your team. In business, and really in just about any type of leadership position, it's not critical to your success if you like every single employee. And some of you may or may not have heard that before, but it's not critical to your success. And the whole like is like you want to play golf with them, you want to do things outside of work. It's not a problem if you do, but it's not necessary and it's not critical to your success. Now, the other way around is industry and profession specific, but it generally in business is helpful if your employees like the leader. It cannot be ignored, but it's definitely not your number one priority. So let's look at an example. In the Marine Corps is built on trust and respect. It's built into the culture of the Marine Corps. And so likability is not a critical aspect. A Marine leader can be very successful and nobody can like them. As long as that Marine leader is able to maintain trust and respect among the Marines they lead, then nobody has to like anybody. It's not a critical piece. And here's a great example. So some boss feedback to me, Lieutenant Colonel West, Colonel Canley. He says, hey, some people really don't like you. I don't really care because you're effective. So there's tons of stories about that. Okay, but in business, we can't really operate like that. And I've operated in both spheres, right? I've operated as a Marine, and I've operated in business. And when I'm in business, I try to have this balance right here. And I think about and I focus on it because it can't be ignored in business. You can't have a whole team of people in business that do not like you because it doesn't work as well. So you got to strive for a balance, and you got to strive to be successful and have them all three in balance. Okay, so the employees, they may or may not like each other, okay? But you need to pay attention to this because what you do not want is you can't have them hating each other. If they hate each other, it's your responsibility. You got to get involved. There must be a productive relationship between the team members to be successful. So be very, very careful with extremes in this space. Let's look at an example. So let's say that Judy is loud, boisterous, overbearing, and some of the team members, they don't like her. And the reason you know this is because they've come in and complained to you. I mean, that's how these things go down most of the time. Like people on your team, Sally's come to you and says like, oh my goodness, she's so loud, boisterous, overbearing. So you've got to get involved here. Okay, so it's your responsibility to get involved. And you can't make people like Judy, but you can have a discussion like, hey, we're trying to work together, and we need to work through some of these issues. Sometimes you can come off as overbearing. And I don't feel that way. However you want to work through that, but you have to do this because you don't want this to move into where Judy is losing trust and respect for the rest of the team. Okay, so generally leads in one of these two ways over time. It's going to lead to love or it's going to lead to hate. So love leads to loyalty. Superior performance, real friendships, winning. I love my boss. He is awesome. I love my manager. She's outstanding. We hear these types of things. And this should be your goal over time to have relationships like this, to have strong relationships like this. This goes back a few years, but this is a picture of me and Mark. He was my assistant team leader, and we're still friends today. So this is in Afghanistan. That's the Helmand River behind us. We deployed there in 2011. The first time we ever met was in 2010, and we didn't know each other from anywhere. But he worked for me, and we became good friends. And to this day, we're 6-7 years later. If he needed me, asked me to do something, I would drop whatever I was doing and I would help him, and I know he would do the same for me. So this is where you want to be. That's the direction you want to go. What we don't want is these individuals who have a lot of hate and they're letting it out on our team, because hate leads to lying, vengeance, backstabbing, lower profits, bankruptcy, losing, and we can't have it. So as leaders, what should we do with the haters? If you've gone through everything, like you've embrace this individual. You try to do counseling. You try to do all these things, and just nothing seems to be working in terms of their behavior and how they feel about people on the team, then you've got to fire them. Okay, so we got to fire the bad apples. You got to hold them accountable. We got to keep thorough records, and we got to do this in an ethical and legal way. And if you don't, they're going to ruin your team. Okay, so once all these things go down, you got to be really, really careful in this situation, because hate leads to vengeance, revenge. It can lead to you, personally. So through the entire thing, you got to be upright, ethical in the way you behave, and if you do that the right way, you're gonna make it through. Okay, so you can start using this tool today, and here are some questions to ask yourself as you're using the tool. Okay, so what are you doing to build trust and maintain trust with your team? Do you keep your word? Do you follow through on your task? Do you step in and help team members when someone is out? So it's all about your actions, your behaviors. That's what's going to build trust. What are you doing to build, maintain respect? How do you treat the people on your team? Are you firm, fair, consistent? Do you compliment people when they do things well in front of other people, right? People enjoy receiving compliments when they're genuine and sincere. Do you actually care about them and their family? Are you respectful of their time? Do you schedule a meeting for 10, show up 15 minutes late, act like it's no big deal, and then just drive on with the meeting? If you do that, you're not showing respect for them and their time. Okay, so what are you doing to ensure they trust each other? Observe how the team interact with each other. You can see this. It does not take long to observe a team and start to figure out if they actually trust each other. So we know in the scenario we have is that they don't really trust Billy. And you're going to hear this. People are going to talk and share with you that they're having issues with Billy. So we got to foster and facilitate trust between the team. And remember, if you have a bad apple, if you got a Billy and you can't get him to improve, then you need to remove him. And when you remove bad apples, if you've ever done this, and I don't know who all has, but you'd be very surprised at the morale that can happen for the team and the increased trust in you. So what are you doing to ensure they respect each other? How do they treat each other? Do they respect each other's time? Do they share resources? Do they teach other new skills? You can observe these things and it'll show whether they respect each other. Leaders should be able to answer why we are a team. It needs to be compelling. If you're a sports team, you want to win a championship. You want to win all these games. You may be a team because you're trying to launch a product. You're trying to launch a new company. Whatever it is, it needs to be compelling. And your employees should be able to answer in the same way. Some passion behind why you're a team and what you're trying to do. They need to believe in it. Okay, so that's the tool. And please, start using it today. And I believe that it should help to increase your confidence, help you create an awesome, awesome team. Okay, so the officers eat last. It's a fully developed leadership development doctrine, and the teamwork dynamics tool fits within the doctrine. So the doctrine has 3 parts. Part 1, establishing your leadership foundation, building your leadership skills, and then part 3, starting your leadership journey. So where this is down here at number 7, learn techniques to build successful teams. Okay, so within the doctrine, my recommendation is that you create, and I have a process on how you should create a personal leadership doctrine for yourself. And within that, you should have leadership rules. If you've ever looked at this, successful leaders have little rules that help guide them in their actions and their behaviors. So we're going to go through a few of these that I think apply in helping you build a team. So rule number 50, write your team goals and communicate them often. So we've been talking about that throughout the webinar on how it's very, very important that people understand why you're a team, what the goals are. So that's rule 50. Now these are deliberately numbered out of order because these rules, they're not like a recipe where you need to follow step by step like baking a cake. You use your brain and you apply them whenever you need to. So rule 32, set habits for your team and your organization. A lot of content out there on habits for the individual. developing a habit of when you get up in the morning, the first thing you should do is drink some water, and then you should stretch, and then you should eat a lemon, whatever it is. When you are leading a team, you need to think about the habits for your team and your organization, not necessarily when they get up, but what are their work habits? What are their processes? That's what this is about. Rule 73, leaders create, build, and sustain the culture of their team. We've been talking about that throughout the webinar. Rule 5, leaders set the tone for the organization and the team. So if the leader, when the heat is high, when there's a lot of pressure, and the leader is freaking out or whatever, that's the tone that will move out. And it's not a good tone, okay? Whatever the heck is going on, if you're the leader, you need to try to stay calm, keep your bearing, and then problem solve. Okay, Rule 54, leaders build trust. We've been talking about that. Rule 48, be firm, fair, and consistent. You've heard that. Rule 14, embrace confrontation. Okay, so like if you got Billy's not doing what he needs to do, he's a bad apple, you're gonna embrace these conversations with Billy, okay? And if possible, what you want to do is it needs to be face to face, okay? And it's not going to be comfortable, it's not going to be the most enjoyable thing, but it's your responsibility as a leader. So that's what Rule 14 is about. You got to embrace it. Rule 16, do not complain to your employees, okay? So we want to be confident. We want to be successful leaders. We complain to our peers that do not work in the same company as us. We complain to our mentors. We complain to our parents, to our spouses, people like that. But we do not complain to our employees because it's not effective. It doesn't build trust, confidence, any of those things. Rule 39, everybody will not like you. Embrace it. It is okay. We've talked a lot about that. You got to just drive on. Rule 114, never use profanity or demeaning words when you are correcting an individual on your team. And the reason is because it's embarrassing. You're embarrassing some member of your team. I'm a fan of profanity. I use it all the time, but not directed at a particular individual, okay? Rule 138, never correct the actions of an individual on your team in front of others. This, again, is back to you're gonna embarrass someone on your team. The only time you want to correct actions if there are other people around is if it's a safety issue. If somebody's going to get hurt, then jump in there and help out. Rule 120, never cancel a team member. Use an email. See this. You can Google this. There's a big problem in business with this. Do not do it. What this is that people who do this, they're not embracing confrontation. If you're a leader and you have to fire someone, you have to counsel someone, it's confrontational, but do not do it through email. There's no tone and inflection in email, so it's all lost. Rule 15, you can't lead those that do not want to be led. So in our example, Billy is showing that he does not want to be led. He does not want to be on the team. He's a bad apple. So you can't lead those that do not want to be led. You got to remove them. Rule 64, everything your team does or fails to do is your responsibility. If you can do this, if you can live this on a daily basis, you're going to build a ton of trust and respect with your team. So if your team is doing really, really good things, they've launched a product, this was successful, all these wonderful things were successful, and you have a meeting, you say, hey, it's because of you, it's because of all the team members, and Sally did this, and you're congratulating them, then it's going to breed a lot of loyalty. And then if the team is failing, you need to take responsibility and say, hey, we didn't launch a product on time, it's my fault. I'm going to work to fix it. I want to work with all of you and figure out how we can be better. And I'm sorry, it's my fault. I'm sorry we're failing. Hard to do, but that's what you got to do. Okay, so there is the tool. Remember, it's all about balance. It's all about balance. Okay, so this is the full doctrine right here. Again, we talked about how there's 3 parts of the doctrine, 10 steps. And what we just went over was number 3, create your personal leadership doctrine. Okay, so let's talk about the Leader Transformation, which is a program that I've developed. It's 12 modules for you go over 7 weeks. There's 75 videos, and I'll walk you through every step to becoming a confident leader. So this is what Module 1 looks like. We go over what is leadership, and we go through various videos so that we can all get on the same page in terms of what is leadership. And the next module gets into how does someone become a leader. I think it's important to understand how confident, successful leaders got to where they are. What was their journey like? Then know yourself. You can have a very, very difficult time being successful with any team if you don't understand yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses. And another way to say this is self-awareness. So this is all about self-awareness. The next module is creating your leadership doctrine. And we talked about the rules, and there's other things that go into it, like what are your core values? What's your leadership definition? What's your philosophy of leadership? You'll develop that through this module. The next one is we go over a quick tool that I think can be helpful for you. Is how to build a skill. So this is about how to build a skill like communication skills, because the next one is on how to become an effective communicator. So you're going to use your skill building process there, and we're going to go through. We're going to learn how to communicate effectively as a leader with our team. Then we're going to get into planning. This is another, I think, just weakness in business. A lot of leaders do not know how to conduct effective planning. So we discussed this, and you need to have some skills in this area if you're going to be effective as a leader. Then we get into effective decision making, and then we get into how to build successful teams, which the teamwork dynamics tool that we just discussed should really, really help you build that team you need. And then we talk about ethical leadership, because if you can't act in an ethical way, you're not going to create success with your team. Then we talk about the role of mentors and influencers. So it's critical to your long-term success to actually have a mentor that cares about you, that cares about your development. And on the influencer side, what I'm discussing there is you studying successful leaders throughout history. So you could study General Patton, U.S. Army general from World War II. You can study Pat Summitt, the women's basketball coach at University of Tennessee. There's tons of people to study, and those are those influences the influencers that you study that help you become successful. And then we talk about your leadership journey beginning. Okay, so at the same time, within the 12 modules in 7 weeks, we got actionable assignments and workbooks. So these are our workbooks. We got a Know Yourself process workbook, leadership doctrine, and then a leadership development process workbook. And then also, because of today, the live webinar, I'm also offering one-on-one coaching to help ensure your success. Okay, so this is how this breaks down from a price standpoint. The videos, the value $497, actionable assignments $197, and the one-on-one coaching $900. So the total value that you're getting is $1,594. And because you're on the live webinar today, and because we're running the special today, you can get all of this for $197. So also, to make it a no-brainer for you and no risk, really, all upside is there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So, you get into this course, you start going through the training, start doing the homework, start watching the videos, in your engagement, we start engaging with each other, and you feel like you're just not getting the result that you want, then you're going to get your money back. No questions asked. Okay, so I think that we have a button somewhere, but if for whatever reason the button is not working, you can go to theleadertransformation.com, and that is our landing page for you to sign up for the course. Okay, so here's another quick testimonial. Following Jason's advice has helped me become confident, and I manage my team. Even hiring new employees was easier. So I appreciate that from Molly. And then here's another one from David. Jason challenges all those that lead to raise their skill sets to the next level and provides common sense methods to do so. This is for you. And if you're serious about being the most effective type of leader you can become. So I appreciate that from him as well. Okay, so having said all of that, do we have any questions? And if I can get this to work properly, I'll add my face back to this deal here. Let's see. And any second now. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let me see if there's anything in the chat window. Is there anything in the chat? How do I get to it? Anybody know? Okay, so no chats. That's fine. No worries. It's absolutely fine. So that wraps up the live webinar. Thank you so much. We're going to have this as a replay. So I appreciate it. Please reach out to me. I read all my emails, answer all the emails. Jason@officerseatlast.com. Thank you so much for joining. And whenever I hit this,